Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan, and today I'm continuing my Disney movie marathon by reviewing one of their older films. This one came out from the early 1970s, so yeah, I'm going that far back. Which is fine because I'm usually reviewing a bunch of old movies anyway. So yeah, for today's feature folks, I'm going to be reviewing the one titled $1 Million Duck. Which sounds kind of funny, but that's kind of the idea in some ways because was intended to be one of those comedies that was produced by the Walt Disney Productions, and let's just say, yeah, it's one of those situations where those are just goose that lays golden eggs. I mean, yes, that was used as a plot device for various other movies before, sure, but they're definitely going to use that here for this movie, folks. I mean, why not? A bunch of other people did the same thing, so I guess it wouldn't hurt. But alright, here we go, I guess. I'm talking about another live action film that they made from long ago. Anyway, of course, as usual, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So, here we go, let's begin, shall we? Oh yeah. Yeah, folks, the main character of this film is a scientist. He's struggling to pay his bills, coincidentally enough, of course. And yes, he has a wife, of course. They seem to have an enjoyable life despite the fact they are under pressure for, some financial needs, of course. But the thing is that his wife, Katie, gets a recipe for apple sauce wrong and gives it to her husband to take to work for lunch one day, hoping that, yeah, it will cut down on the budget. And when it comes to, making food and whatnot. So, yeah, she's trying to be conservative with with a very, very little amount of money. But however, okay, let's just say in a strange, odd chain reaction kind of a thing, the duck that the husband character is testing steals the applesauce after he had tossed it away in the trash bin, and then wanders into like some sort of radiation lab and becomes, yeah, there's some sort of mix-up going on, of course. But the thing is, the husband character does order to get rid of the duck so that he figures he can give it to his son or whatever, Jimmy, whom have been wanting a pet for quite some time. But, however, the thing is that, yeah, the whole thing with laying golden eggs and whatnot comes into play, of course. So let's just say, even the duck is given a name, of course, obviously. So, but let's just say lays an egg, of course. But the only way they can produce the egg, the duck, as if this entire thing didn't sound strange already as it is. The yeah, this creature can only produce an egg like this if by the sound of a barking dog. So yeah, it sounds like a kind of an odd setup for a movie, but the way I took it is that the people who were behind this film were trying to have like an experiment with some sort of idea of a premise. That's what I got from it anyway. I mean, there's some moments that do get pretty dramatic, to at least to some degree anyway, especially towards the end. So yeah, it's kind of an oddball premise with a hints of bit of drama even there. Again, especially towards the end of the movie. So yeah, yeah, that's the thing. But at first, yes, it's just the family that knows about this kind of a thing. Once they realize that they have to accept the reality of the situation. Of course, they're trying to keep it a secret or whatever, but eventually the word does get out, of course. And with the golden egg and whatnot, they believe their financial situation will be finally fixed. So better be careful with that because that can actually create inflation when you think about it. I mean, inflation is a bad thing, of course. So if history's shown anything, inflation in any country will always provide to be a bad thing. I mean, that's never mentioned in this movie, really, but it's kind of a missed opportunity, if you ask me. But, okay, whatever, guys. But the overall film does definitely have a 70s feel to it, and it really does. That's not a complaint, really, for me. But you can actually tell. If anything, the fact that it has a '70s charm-ish kind of a thing going on actually adds to the overall movie. So I actually liked it a bit more because of that. So anyway, but like I was saying, of course, other people do eventually find about this kind of a thing because they do gain the suspicion from a neighbor because his intention goes further and further. And eventually, we do get to see maybe some government person from the U.S. Treasury Department, and yeah, he does spy on them for a little while. So yeah, things do become rather hectic for these family, I suppose. But gotta have a conflict somehow. So that does make sense when you think about it. Yeah, there's a kid in this movie, of course. But even though I said it before, folks, when it comes to kids, they usually annoy me in these movies, in any kind of movie. But thankfully, the annoyance of a child isn't really all that bad in this one, I guess. But anyway, this film does have a pretty odd premise in some ways, like I was saying. But if you just accept it for what it is, I would say that you can have actually a pretty good time while watching it. Pretty much what's going on here is that this character, he definitely wants to take this duck home for his research laboratory as a pet for his son. But soon he does find out that it lays golden eggs and whatnot. And that, while it seems like it may permanently fix his problems, but it actually makes things even worse. Oh boy. So yeah, folks, that's pretty much what's going on here in this movie, really. And as strange as this movie sounds, that's what is going on in here, folks. Yeah, as odd as it is. This is definitely one of the strangest Disney films I've ever seen. I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but it stands out because of that. I'm not quite sure on how to make of that really, but whatever. So anyway, I guess, like I said way earlier, this movie came off more of an experiment, if anything. At the very least, that's how I took it. But yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's nothing great per se. Not necessarily something I would call a masterpiece, but it's. I mean, at least we're trying to do something. At least we're trying to have a story going on. It's pretty coherent. The overall tone is consistent. The characters act within their character traits. Their personalities match up throughout the entire thing. No one does anything out of character, is what I'm saying. So it does what it's supposed to. Is what I'm getting at. It does what it's supposed to, of course. And I mean, I guess the people behind this movie, at least Disney, is trying to do something a bit more original in their own way when it comes to their animal themed films. And trust me, folks, the Walt Disney Studios have made a lot of their animal themed films. It's usually a cat, a dog, or something in that line, really. But in this case, it's the duck. Yeah, a duck. That's the animal they chose to be in this movie. So yeah, not exactly a goose or whatever you want to call that. Still, it still goes to what I'm saying here, folks. It's not exactly the typical animal choice people would choose when it comes to these kinds of animal themed films, especially from Disney. So yeah, that's the thing here. So I mean, I guess I'll give them that. I suppose they didn't go with the obvious choice of animals to be focusing on this kinds of movies. So at least trying to differentiate themselves enough to make it entertaining, I suppose. So yeah, I guess that's something, I suppose. So yeah, folks. Overall, while I won't say that this movie is a grand masterpiece, but it does have its moments. There are a lot of moments I did like throughout the entire film. But I'm not gonna, spoil anything for anyone that I've seen it. And just so you know, yes, you can't see this on Disney Plus. You can actually look it up right now, this very second, if you like. So if you have a Disney Plus and you don't really have the money to buy the physical copy, and I say go ahead and watch it on Disney Plus. Go right ahead, I guess. In that case, just be my guess. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. The scenery does look nice. It does, the way it's choreographed does look really, really nice, folks. And yeah, everything was shot professionally made. And like I said a moment ago, it does have that 70s look to it. And again, that's not a bad thing. No, that's definitely not a bad thing here. So the way it was choreographed definitely felt like it was trying to be, put enough effort in that degree. The editing was really good as well. So yeah, it's definitely professionally made. You think this might be some trash that might be from the amateur hour, but thankfully that's not the case here. Thankfully they took real effort to produce this film. So I'll give credit when credit's due. So anyway, I'll give this film an overall rating of a 6.9 out of 10. It gets a 6.9 out of 10 for me. So of course, as usual, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah. Stay safe, folks. Stay safe. Remember, wear old mask. Yeah. Anyway, see ya.